Good morning, everybody. It's another Sunday morning. It's the middle of October. I forgot what the date is, but it's the weekend after Columbus Day weekend. And I'm down here this morning and just want to talk quickly about some of the things that are probably going to be coming up on future videos, things that I need to try and get to before winter sets in. And one of them is I want to get back to the Hendy lathe this winter, and in order to do that, the last thing on the Hendy that was holding me up was welding, fixing the broken pan leg, the cast iron pan leg. And what I want to do is I want to arc weld that, and so that's got to be done outside, so I've got to get that done before the weather turns really bad. As it is today, we're having an unusually cold day. Temp this evening at 6 o'clock is forecast to go down to 32 degrees. So talk about your hard frost. And then typical New England, if you don't like the weather, just wait a minute because it'll change. Or wait a few days. In this case, Wednesday and Thursday of this week we're supposed to have highs back in the low 60s. So crazy. So anyways, pan leg and some Hendy stuff is going to start start showing up soon. Vernon lathe, wrapping that up, obviously, coming near the end on that project. And then of course the lathe's just going to be featured in other projects. For instance, the IH350, repairing the steering column on that is going to involve some lathe work, but it also needs the mill, and the mill's not ready. So that's kind of going to be, unfortunately it looks like the IH350 utility tractor is not going to see any work again this year. Except for maybe that one failed attempt at working on the, trying to get the steering box off the tractor. And for those of you who didn't see that video, to sum it up, it was a complete failure because somebody welded that steering box down to the top of the transmission access plate, so, or the plate on top of the tranny. So, you know, that's just I don't know what somebody was thinking there. Sins of the farmer, I believe is what they call that. Alright, so this morning I'm going to start another, well, it's not really a flea market's find, it's another Craigslist buy. What ended up happening was doing my usual searches through Craigslist, and keyword start, and yielded a guy about 45 minutes away down in Rhode Island who had pictured a lot of tools, and he had some plumbing tools, like some big old pipe cutters, some pipe wrenches, a large crescent wrench, which when I went down there and looked at it, it was the largest crescent wrench I've ever seen. I've seen pictures of bigger ones, but this crescent wrench was easily this long. And I could have had it for 30 bucks, but I really don't have a use for a crescent wrench that big, or you know what's going to happen. Eventually I'll wish I had bought it. But anyways, he had a bunch of that stuff, and then he had some machinist stuff. He had a Gerstner box. He didn't have any prices on anything. He was looking to trade the whole lot for a small tractor, like a lawn and garden tractor with a snow blower attachment on it, or a snow plow attachment on it, of equal value. But I spotted in the photos, I spotted some precision levels. And those of you who have seen all of my videos know that I picked up an 18-inch Starrett level, but it was like the Model 98 series. So it was like there was no model number on that one because I think it was earlier, but it was a 9812. So I have that, but I had wanted to try and acquire a Model 199 master level, and those go on eBay, you know, typically cheapest you tend to see them trade is around 175, 200 bucks. And you see a lot of people with ones that are in much better condition, like near mint condition, and they're asking, you know, they're asking crazy, like $600-700. I've seen them really up there, but of course those are the ones that sit there and, you know, aren't getting sold really. So hey, thing with eBay, you can ask whatever you want. Doesn't mean you're going to sell it. But when you look at, you know, previous auctions, auction history, that kind of thing, you can get an idea what they go for. But I didn't want to plunk down that kind of change on one of those. I figured if I bided my time, I'd get lucky and I'd score one at a sale somewhere where somebody just, you know, was getting rid of a bunch of tools and didn't care what it was worth, but wanted to move the stuff out, or paid so little for it themselves that they were willing to turn it around and for, you know, a little bit of profit, as long as they were making a little money on it, sell it, that kind of thing. So I'm looking at the photographs and I spot what looked to be a Model 199 level, and next to it 2 Starretts, and then also there was a 4th level which was just a looked like almost like a carpenter's level, a small one, or a mason's level. So I'm like, oh, you know, 2 Starretts I could see, and then that one I couldn't see the maker's name, but from the top I thought for sure it was a 199. So I shot off an email and I asked him, I said, well, what would you take for the 2 levels all the way, you know, the 2 levels in the picture, all the way to the left? So he had the what I thought was the 199, and then he had the what looked like a 15 or another 15 or 18 inch Starrett, and then a small one that looked like a 6 or 8 inch Starrett. I didn't want the small one, and then I didn't really need the other big one, but I figured I'd see what he wanted, package deal type of thing. So I said that, those 2 levels, a set of V-blocks that I saw in the picture that really intrigued me, and a boring head with an R8 on it. So couldn't tell what the boring head was. It looked clean, but I couldn't tell if it was a Criterion or not, or if it was a knockoff. Couldn't tell who made the V-blocks, although the closest thing I found online to a V-block that looked like that were Taft Pierce, and I still don't know what they are, but I bought them. And and then of course the level. So he shot me back a price and he said for those 4 items he'd be willing to sell those 4 items for $170. $170 for these items was a really good price. So I immediately shot him back an email and said I'd like to come down and you know, take a look and most likely buy them. So we set up an appointment. I drove down on Friday evening and ended up spending a couple hours there talking to the guy. Nice guy, you know. We got to talking about things and you know, different jobs he's done over the years. How he came to acquire a lot of these items. These were, by his own admission, these were surplus or overflow type items from work that he had acquired and collected and had for quite a few years actually, and just never got around to using them, and found that they were just not anything he really needed. And now he's cleaning the garage and he's just getting sick of looking at the stuff sitting there when he could turn it into money. The Gerstner box, we talked about that. He did a beautiful job restoring it. He told me he bought it for $75 and it looked like a real mess, and he did a beautiful job restoring it with all new felt and refinished it. It looked brand new. Beautiful job he did on it. He wanted $300 for that box, and I'll tell you, if you were in the market for one, you're going to be hard pressed to find one of nicer condition than that. I mean, he basically brought it back to practically brand new, and he was asking $300, but you know, probably would have taken $250 for it. And again, it's not that out of line. But by his own admission, he would like to buy another one just like it and do it again, but he wouldn't pay more than $75 for one. In other words, he's looking for another one that's cruddy, and he'll turn around and do it again. And he was telling me about, you know, he's got one of the master Gerstner boxes at work. So he had acquired that, kind of similar circumstances. Bought it cheap because it needed work and fixed it up. So anyways, so I ended up buying quite a few items because I just got some really great deals. And there were some items that I contemplated buying, but there were items that were more, there were some items there that were kind of the kind of thing that they were a little special. They were specialized enough that I thought I really wouldn't use them much in my kind of work that I'm going to be doing. I don't need as tight a tolerance. He had a Mitutoyo height gauge in the case with 4 or 5 scribers, the little scriber arms, you know, different styles in there. Looked pretty complete, looked clean as a whistle. He wanted $80 for that, and I passed on that, and I probably could have got it for $70, and that was a fair price for that. It wasn't a digital one, it was just a manual one, but it was just really clean. But you know what, I've got one that I picked up for like $15 out of the case with no scriber, I mean with only one scriber attachment on it. I don't know where I got that, it's over there. But, hold on. Alright, so here's my height gauge, and actually I think I paid 20 because this is marked 25. I still got the sticker on there. I haven't even used this since I got it. But this is a, I forgot who makes this. This is a Brown and Sharp. And so it was this style, only it was a Mitutoyo, and it might have been a little bit taller. Maybe not. But this scriber right here comes off. Actually, I don't know how this even comes off on this one. Maybe it doesn't. Well, in the Mitutoyo, you could change this scriber to different ones for different jobs. So anyways, and I believe this is also not just for scribing, but also for touching off. You know, it was a manual one like this, where it had the fine and coarse adjustments. But it was, like I said, it looked like it was brand new. So, anyways, I didn't end up buying that one because I had this one, and you know, how often am I going to use this one? Well, time will tell. I don't have a surface plate even. I have that thing I call a cast iron surface plate, which really more is, I think, some sort of a special jig or something. I don't know what the hell it is. Alright, so let's get right to it. So when I got down there, I looked at some stuff first, and went around and looked at the things that we had singled out. And the first thing I did was I looked at the 2 levels. First thing I found right off the bat was it wasn't a Starrett 199. So I was like, oh, I can't believe that I didn't realize it wasn't a 199. But then again, you'll see in a moment why I did. And then when we talked about the prices he had quoted me a price for the large Starrett level and the small Starrett level. And he had figured the 170, he had broken it down for me. So he had basically said he wanted $40 for the large Starrett and $40 for the small one. So that's kind of interesting. And then he didn't give me a price on the other one because he said he had no idea what it was worth. So that kind of changed the whole equation, because I mean, actually, you know, those prices are good for those 2 other levels, but I'll get to that in a moment. So let me start by showing you the mystery level. This is the original box. Unfortunately, this little clasp has broken off and been lost. So I'll just open it up and show you from the top what this looks like. And those of you who have seen the 199 might realize why I thought it might have been a 199. But the dead giveaway that it's not a 199, even to the inexperienced eye, would be that when you take it out, it's going to fall off of this thing here. When you take it out, you see that this is a cast iron body that's almost like a truss style to it. It's got a little bit of surface rust there, you know, and it's not perfect. It's been around the block. But this is a Pratt & Whitney of Hartford, Connecticut, precision lathe. This is marked sensitivity 10 seconds 1 division equals .0005 inches per foot. So in other words, 1/1000th of an inch per foot of rise would be indicated by this bubble, this big blob of a bubble that's going back and forth, and they're moving half a division. So, I mean, one division, 1/1000th. So with the original case, even though the case latch is damaged, and with this, so when he initially told me that, you know, he hadn't decided on a price on this because he just wasn't sure what the heck it was worth, we had, you know, we had kind of come to an impasse at that point. So I decided to focus on some of the other stuff. So what I ended up doing was, I went and looked at the V blocks. We cut a deal on those. When I came back to the levels, I decided to take a look at the ones that he, you know, did think about doing something with, and we ended up cutting a deal. So here is the 18-inch. This one looks like it's a lot cleaner than my other one. So now I have two of these. Obviously one of these is going to the auction or something. But this one's also not damaged. It's got this second bubble here. This one also doesn't look like I see any part number on it. So anyways, this is in the original case, which is nice. So I already had one of these, so I wasn't going to buy this unless I got a really good deal on it. And the reason why I wanted to buy this, if I could get a good deal on it, was because I knew that A, mine doesn't have the wooden case, it's got the cardboard case, which I don't even know if that's the right box for it. I call it a case, it's a box. Second of all, it looked like it was in better shape to me. So I'm going to pick which of the two of these is in the better condition, put it in this box, and that's the one I'll save, and the other one I'll sell. So this was 40 bucks, and so I had put this together with something else that was 40, and ended up paying 70 for the two, and I don't remember if it was what the other thing was. I wrote all that stuff down so I could keep track of it. But anyways, so basically I got this lathe for 35 bucks. That was a good deal. Well, I went upstairs and found my little cheat sheet. This was the running tally as I was buying things that day, so I know what order I bought them in and exactly what I paid. And this was one of the items when I saw the initial Craigslist ad that I really was interested in. I saw these V blocks and I couldn't tell the exact size, but I could tell that they were pretty decent size based on something else in the photo that kind of gave me some scale. So the other thing I noticed about them was they definitely didn't look like they were shop made, because I saw that they had what appeared to be the original hold downs with them, and you could see that the nice castings that these are made out of. So these are cast iron V blocks, and the only style V block I found online initially that had these kind of this style of hold down were Taft Pierce, which are expensive V blocks. Now these are not Taft Pierce. These are, if anybody's wondering, exactly 6 inches high. Well, I shouldn't say exactly. They're 6 inch by 6 inch by 6 inch. They're 6 by 6 by 6 V blocks. Now, what I really like about them is I don't have any V blocks this large. Now I do. And each V block has 2 hold downs with it, which oftentimes these end up going missing. He only had 3 of the original, what probably was 8 bolts that came with it. These unique square head bolts. They're beat, you know, they could use some work. if you were going to use these for any high precision work, they could use to be touched up on a surface grinder. There's a channel in the bottom here, which I assume you could have a metal bar that fits in one of your T-slots on your milling machine that locks into here, so that when you want to set this up perfectly perpendicular on your or parallel on your machine, you can just drop it onto that and lock it on there. It's just a guess. There's a hole through here, so to bolt it down, and then there's a hole through here, because I think maybe these, just like the small V-blocks, have the ability to have a rod go through that I guess helps keep them together. Maybe when you're using them on a surface plate. I don't know. I'm not a V-block expert by any stretch of the imagination. These hold downs, they've got two surfaces here so that you can flip them this way, okay, or you can flip them this way. Now, interestingly enough, if you flip them this way, they actually go so far down. I guess, let's see, so that would be probably for about something that diameter. Well, pretty much anything smaller than this diameter, that right here, would flip them over and do it that way. So these are nice and versatile, and they do have a manufacturer's name on them, but all they say, let's see, one of the sides here, there's a U.S. patent number 9133. Now wait a minute, hold the phone. This is stamped in here, HVY MFG, with a stamp set, 4. Heavy manufacturing 4, but that looks like it was stamped in by hand. And here, this area, it's stamped in 10, and then a big 6, which is, of course, we already figured out it's a 6-inch V-block. But on this one, which I didn't have when I first was looking at it this morning, there's a number 20 in this area here, and there's a U.S. patent number and 9133, and then this says number 666A, and here's the maker's name. Need some magnification on it, but I think these might be Taft Pierce. They sure are. Taft Pierce Woon R.I. USA. Taft Pierce Woon, which is short probably for Woonsocket, which is a town in Rhode Island. So, cool beans. Taft Pierce V-blocks, 6-inch. Bought those. He wanted 45, and he took 40 for these. So I'm really happy about that. I venture to say it's a 45-minute drive. If this was all I ended up getting that day, I probably wouldn't be disappointed. And the thing too is, if I really wanted to make these high precision again, paying only $40 for these, I could easily, if I wanted to, put the money into sending these out and having them done up right at a grinder. Then of course I'd have to make a wooden case for them. So that was the icebreaker. The next item on the list to investigate was the boring head. So I grabbed the boring head and took a look at it and quickly realized by the coloring that it's probably not a Criterion. So of course I thought, well, it's R8. Still looks like it's in excellent condition. This, he had it just like that, so this is going to stay with this because it's the perfect size, makes sense. But when I was looking at it to see if it was a cheap knockoff, I saw that it was made in the USA. So I thought, oh, that's nice. Here it is. This is a Model 63B And this is the Flynn Manufacturing Company of Detroit, Michigan. Flynn, F-L-Y-N-N. Not Flint, as in Flint, Michigan, but Flynn, M-F-G-C-O, Detroit, Michigan. So, no boring bars to go with it, but that's no biggie. And so, he wanted 45 on this, I believe, and I ended up giving 40 for that. So that worked out. So I got another boring head. So I got this boring head, and this old Bridgeport one's my largest one now. So I got a small. So these two are pretty much the same size, so probably keep the US made one and get rid of this. This is a made in Yugoslavia boring head. It's also in pretty good shape, but I just don't need it. Can't think of a reason why I want two of the same size. Next item I bought was this set of transfer punches. There's a loaner here, one missing from the set, and there's a short one in here. All the other ones are long, and this long one doesn't fit in here, so it's kind of a mismatched set, and they're well used. Matter of fact, when I first looked at them, I pulled out this one, and I saw that this is just doesn't even have a sharp point left on it anymore. It's very well used. So I was going to pass on it, and then just for the heck of it, I pulled out the next one and saw that that's still plenty sharp, and I pulled out a few others, and I realized that you've got several sizes in here that are really well used, and several sizes that are still in great shape. So I gave $5 for this because I figured for $5 it was worth it, maybe to even fill out, like if I get another set that's got some damaged. Of course, what will probably happen is I'll get another set that will have some, and it's probably always the same sizes that get used. Who knows? But anyways, $5.